I'm here pretty often because this is how I'm writing. I'm putting it on here and somehow I'm going to take it off of here and write it somewhere else. But I found something else. Everybody knows everybody knows what the grid is. Does anybody know how the grid works? Okay, the grid is like this. Okay, but you got to know what to do with it, okay? So we have the skeleton, okay? So in the skeleton, we know there's something that has to do with the center, and the center, to find it, we have to know how to find it, so we have to calculate. So we find that we go 3 across, or 3 up, but this is in the middle. So no matter which 3 you count, one of the 3s will have it in the middle, making it the 4th 3, but that's irregardless. So you see what the grid is, right? Can you see this grid? OSO. Have you ever seen that before? It looks like a stop sign. OSO. It's the grid. It's the X's and the O's of everything. But if you split it in half, look at that grid. You got 2 tires and something under the middle. It looks just like a car. So they made the car from the grid, with the dog pound right from God, and it became the car. And the grid, if you square it off in the corners and put the black and white, and they wave it, and the cars are off and the race is over. Because what you see in front of you is 50, half and half. Turn it this way, turn it this way. What's the difference? You have the X's and the O's. Those 2 are the tires. The 5 is just the middle of that grid of the 9 times of the men it took to play the game of baseball, which is the game of life, to get home, to go to sleep. So to go to sleep, because you're so tired, because you stood in extra innings, God gave you a chance to get home a little bit quicker. So he designed for you, after the game, to get home for the 7th day so you can rest. He made a car. C-A-R. Car, transport. You see the C. Sometimes in the sea, if you don't go deep enough, you can't see the whole sea, so you'll only see the half a sea. Less like you see the half of the tires. So that sea, if you turn it upside down, put half in the front, half in the back, reflected on both sides for balance, with the angel up in heaven who directs you down on earth. We can take any one of the 2 pieces of the bottom of the R to travel the road and come around in the car a lot more quicker to get home. In fact, it's almost like a different kind of passage. As you go straight up the back of the R, around and in and down and somewhere out, a little bit further up the road. So that's the car, to get you home quicker. That's why God made it. Because of the 9 times of man, it took every single man at the plate before they finally finished the last day to bring the story of the man of 6 for the perfect man of 4, and 6 by 4 is 24, which is the whole day, which brings in the whole story. Therefore, now you know most of the whole story. The only story I know, and I will tell you more, and it's my story, and I enjoy my story because it's her story or my story, which is my history or hysteria, or her nia, because it's his story. His is for the angel, because the angel is a his. The reason for the his and the her is the way you spell the H, the I, and the S. The S is the snake we left down here. The I is what created something to go down here that hopefully was smarter than the snake to make it back to the H, which is heaven, which has 2 different points for connection. And that's why we say man and he instead of her. HER has the same for the E game of the female, of the R of the same road, because the female is the part of the connection that comes from the earth. And the man is the part of the connection that comes from the heavens. And that's why we're always saying man on earth, because all rules came from the man in the heavens, and everything else was his story, was history. And she was in her area, because her area, She was never happy in, because she was always listening to the man's side of things, and it's not her fault, because it's always the man. We have to learn to live with it and put up with it, and we don't like it, and we really don't have to. We can go and hide, and with death you can hide forever and run away, and run, 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 as we ran from the wolf who showed us his teeth. But yet his story is what we really wanted to know. And he got vicious over time, because no one listened to the story he had to tell. He was not a storyteller. He was not a teller at the bank. Therefore, he wasn't giving cash to anybody, and he stood alone with his story, and he made trouble, and that was good enough for him. And that's what made him happy, and that's why he's the wolf. And he has all those teeth to show for it. He scared everybody, and that's what made him happy. And that's okay, that's his life. I stood away from the wolf. You've got to be careful for the sharp teeth, because when you swim in the ocean, or what you see, you can get bitten by the razors. The ray of the Zors. Zors are those who have slept before, who are wicked, who know all the worst of everything. They can come back and do what they want, but they're so nice, the only thing they come back to do is make corrections. And we will leave it at that. 6:26 a.m. The 6, the 2, the 6. The 6 is equal. The 2 is one of each of them, meaning it has a meaning. The division is the dots or the daggett between the time, because there's always a difference in time, and there's always a dagger in between man's time and another man's time, because when you get between man's time, you get between him and his time. And man doesn't like you to use his time, because he put here for him to use his time, and his time is his time. So please move out of my way. I want to go vers l'histoire. And that is it. And there will be more, because every time I think, I have to write it down. So for me, speaking is writing. If somebody wants to type it all out or print it up, no problem. It's out there for it. You think I work for nothing? You're absolutely right. I got paid already. That's why the money I need is very little compared to everybody else, because I know what to do with what I have. Although I never did any good before with my money, who says I'll have it better now? Because my direction is better, and I've been given a gift even before I deserved it. Wow, isn't God nice? He told me now, before anything was good in my life, when I have no friends, that'll come here to be my friend and tell me the story, the history. He wants to tell me the truth, because I turn on the TV, but I'm still all alone. So I turn off the lights, but I'm here with my ghost. So I invite my angel and God into the den, but he says there's many more. So I said, fine, I'll just take who I am as myself and invite the truth down from the angel. And when the truth doesn't come, it means I told a lie. So then I'm not fair to myself, so the ghost will sit inside me. So then I'll always have someone to watch TV, because there's always somebody else looking over your shoulder, and that's the ghost of all your thoughts, the way you think, and that's your host, the E host, the G host, and the I host. And now I host all of you, and I present myself as Raphael. I got sick 5 years ago. I got sick in 2005. I was the age of 42. 7 of God and 6 of man. 7 by 6 is 42. 2005, 2 and 5 is 7. The 2 zeros in the middle are for the 2 worlds that were here before, and nothing was perfect. How many of the numbers do I have to calculate for you before you take any of this as the truth? Or a good way of preparing a company, and you put all the things into this company, so when you listen, you see everything working well. So when you listen to it, it works so well, you think it's crazy because it's words. And how come words work so well? We're not pumping anything into it for it to work so well. We're not forcing it. It's not a machinery, yet it works well. When you turn the wheel turns around, and it is easy. Yet when you speak the words, because of all the dialogue from the different language of the nations, of the national soup that comes around what goes around, we can no longer remember, because there are so many words and so many different letters from so many different countries all around just this one world. So if it's in this one world, it ain't going nowhere. So therefore, I can find it. Because the world isn't as big as you think. Because if you look in all the right places, and I got the net, I have the chance to find it. And I'm going to look right now. I got to let you go. Go do what you got to do. And I'll do what I think I have to do. And that's to make me happy without upsetting you. Because you are it.